Welcome everybody to Den Excelsior episode 151. I'm your host Ricky. With me as always is the birthday boy, Dennis.
Wow, just blowing out my spot there. I'm super old. There you go.
I actually did get a notification for the last time I went to Mountain Mike's for your birthday, and it was 10 years ago. So
Nice. Nice.
very different lives we lived back then.
I mean, maybe you do. I still eat that stuff.
That's fair. We have a triple header for you guys today. What are we talking about today?
I'm gonna call it a doubleheader. We're talking about we've been milking a lot of old movies lately because it's been a drought for superhero TV show content. I don't mean that to sound like it's been bad or anything like that. It's nice to get a break. But Marvel and DC decided to hit us with a 1-2 punch this week. And so we're going to take a break from the movies for a little while for the next few weeks as we talk about Agatha All Along on Disney Plus and Penguin on Max.
The Penguin.
Is it called? Oh, it is The Penguin. Sorry, you're right. The Penguin. Yeah. And we initially planned on not being able to talk about the Penguin for this episode, but we had to delay our show an extra day for other reasons. It's because Agatha wasn't going to be ready for me to watch it in time. I thought Agatha was going to be available first thing in the morning on Wednesday, and it was not.
That's a 6 p.m. show there.
It was a 6 p.m. show, and then likewise, Penguin was a 6 p.m. show today. So we ended up we're staying up late, guys. We stayed up so that we could talk about it immediately after watching them for you. Ricky didn't even get to the last 15-20 minutes of the Penguin, but he's given me permission to spoil it. But yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about our initial impressions and maybe what kind of stuff we hope to see out of the coming seasons for these limited series, right? Like I think they're both limited series in theory.
I mean,
Penguin is definitely a limited series.
Yeah, Penguin's limited series.
Agatha probably is a limited series.
They both will be followed by their respective movies. So the next thing in the Penguin story will be Batman 2. Or I guess in that whatever Gotham story universe, crime universe, whatever they call it.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll be talking about those, and I'm honestly like they're so fresh in my brain. I'm having a hard time remembering what other things I've been nerding out on. No, I got it. I found it.
What you got?
I've been watching Kevin Can Fuck Himself.
What's that?
It's a show on AMC, but 2 seasons are now available to watch on Netflix. And it stars Annie Murphy from Schitt's Creek.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really interesting show about like a woman in like a small Boston town that basically lives it's presented as a sitcom with like a laugh track and like really bright colors, and like she's got this loudmouth husband that's like the party guy who's got like the cool friends or the dumb friends, whatever you want to call it. Like it's a full sitcom formula, but as soon as she leaves the room, the entire cinematography of the show changes to look like freaking Breaking Bad. Mm-hmm. or any other depressing show on AMC. And what you start seeing is she actually hates her life. She hates this marriage that she's in. And whenever she's not in his little sitcom bubble, her life looks really bleak and different. And so as the show progresses, she kind of decides that her only way out is to kill Kevin. And so the show shifts back and forth between her plotting to get rid of her annoying husband, but also like she has to still be around in this weird sitcom environment. It's pretty surreal. It's pretty trippy. Yeah. It's a cool show. It's not my normal, like, action-y kind of stuff that I watch, but it's definitely been an entertaining thing. I've also been trying to catch up on Only Murders in the Building. I've only watched, I think I'm on the third episode right now.
Or,
I no, I'm on the third episode right now.
but it's not like you're behind. Crazy behind.
Yeah, I'm not that far behind, but I this season hurts me a lot. I find myself wanting to cry a lot because I love the character of Saz so much. I thought she's just a wonderful character that they created in the very first season of the show,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a very personal thing this time around. That like all the other victims of each season have been characters we barely knew, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so this one they found a really emotional component that keeps hitting me hard because I just think it's such a beautiful characteristic of Charles that his stunt double is a woman that is abnormally sized and she perfectly doubles for him in his entire acting career, and they
Mm-hmm.
just have this beautiful friendship and I already knew that.
Episode 4 is gonna they go hard into that.
Dude, they've been going hard just in the episodes I've seen, and it just hurts.
I will
it hurts
say
me.
there I feel like in comedy there's this always I've seen the gag of like ashes getting put onto somebody, right? Like, oh no, I spilled the ashes, and like someone's ashes are on me,
Yeah,
and it's played up for laughs.
it was not
And
funny.
they do a bit, yeah, here, that same bit, but then the aftermath happens and it gets really really sad.
No,
Um
it's hurting me. That's
it's
why I gotta go watch something.
they're striking these very particular chords of like grief and death and loss that are I don't say they're not funny because it is an inherently funny show, but it's
And they still find a way to be funny too.
Mhm.
But I think the shows that can make you cry the most, or the stories that can make you cry the most, are also the ones that can make you laugh the most too. So I do appreciate that about the show. I just sometimes it makes me not want to touch it with a 10-foot pole for a little bit because I'm like, get away from me. And then the last random like guilty pleasure thing I just recently watched, I rented Subservience on Prime.
Sounds familiar. What is that?
Dude, it's one of those classic
Is this the Megan
hor-
Fox movie?
yeah, it's a horror
Okay.
movie.
She's a robot. It's Ex
AI
Machina with Megan Fox.
AI gone bad. I wouldn't say it's Ex Machina. It's more humans or I'm trying to remember. The movie AI kind of as well. Like she's a nanny. She's a nanny.
Yep.
It's Megan, but for grown-ups. Like it's all of these things. But the execution of it is so awesomely bad that it just makes it one of those really fun, dumb horror movies to watch. You know what I mean? Like I just want to make it clear. So here's the premise of the movie. In the first minute, a guy is hanging out with his wife, and all of a sudden she grabs her heart, and it's like, oh no, she's got heart problems. Cut to next scene. I think they're just like they might have shown her going to the hospital, but like they might not have even done that. Next scene is dad and daughter are shopping at the mall, and they come up upon the store where you can just buy an android to take home, as a servant. And while he's checking out one model, the daughter escapes him, and she ends up like getting lost. And he's like, "Oh, where's my daughter? I can't find my daughter." He's struggling with being a single parent right now because something happened to the wife. And then all of a sudden Megan Fox appears, and she's like, "I found her for you." And then the daughter says, "Daddy, can we keep her?" And I'm like, okay, movie, are you trying to make me believe that it's the daughter's fault for why dad, of all the models of robots he can buy, you're telling me he didn't want to buy the Megan Fox?
Wait, are they all not Megan Fox?
They're not all Megan Fox. You can get normal looking ones too, but he comes home with the Megan Fox model of which is like the top of the line one or whatever. And I swear, and then you find out shortly after that, like the wife is in the hospital. She's waiting on a heart transplant because he brings the nanny there. And her reaction is so not what I would expect from a wife with a husband who just brought home a Megan Fox. And like I kind of assume like the logical thing would be like, honey, please don't screw the nanny. But that's not how it plays out at all. So it's one of those horror movies, where like horror movies happen because dumb people make dumb mistakes, right? You can count them on like two hands, the number of dumb mistakes they make. And so it makes it fun. But yeah, the premise itself of like somebody coming home with Megan Fox as the robot nanny that you have no intention of having sex with, which he does, by the way. He absolutely has sex with that robot. And then surprise, surprise, things go haywire. So what are you going to do? I'm not spoiling the movie. It's in the trailers. He does have sex with that thing in the trailers too. It's pretty funny.
It's funny. I did see them like, oh, Megan Fox is having her own Megan movie. Like, it's pretty meta.
It's a Megan movie, but not as good as Megan.
Mm-hmm.
But it is still fun. I do recommend it if you like cheesy horror movies, like, especially about AI going haywire. Go for it. Subservience.
I aside from Only Murders, I didn't really watch anything, but I did listen to something. It's kind of meta. Do you know what Casa Bonita is?
That sounds so familiar.
So it's a restaurant in Denver. I think it's technically like the largest Mexican restaurant in the country.
Okay.
But it's been featured on South Park. Like there's episodes done at Casa Bonita. And it's a real thing. And it's like a restaurant from the 70s. It's total like basically Mexican tiki bar type of vibe in there. There's a big waterfall. People cliff dive in the middle of the restaurant. Crazy ass Chuck E. Cheese abomination restaurant. Anyways, it obviously went under during COVID because everything else did.
Yeah.
But the creators of South Park, they bought it. They bought that restaurant because it has special heart or special meaning to them because they went there as a kid. And so I was listening to they did an interview with NPR, how they basically renovated it and the process of doing that and like the labor of love that you go through when you're rebuilding something, because like they were talking about the financials, like they literally could have built 5 of these things elsewhere if they wanted to, but it had to be, you have to restore that one. But apparently there's a movie about it on Netflix, but I just listened to like their whole NPR spiel for like an hour in my car because it's just super fascinating with like what is it? Do you make it authentic now that you can like have control over it? Is that the right thing to do? Or do you make it like this kitschy like Mexican restaurant for what it was? And it's really fascinating how they, of all people, acquire the thing, but then go through the process of revamping like the story and the in-house entertainment. Because at the end of the day, that is like their forte.
Yeah, for sure. They're world builders and they're storytellers. So like I think they saw an opportunity to preserve something that they love, but also inject their brand into it, right? Like so, and obviously a ton of people will go there because they want to see anything that Matt Stone and Trey Parker do. So, I mean, there was a time where no one could have imagined that they would be Tony Award-winning, creators as well. Like those guys they're very creative, and you got to give them credit for everything that they put their time and effort into, because they put all of it into it when they do it. So, I mean, they're like masters of like Broadway now. It's really crazy. Like it's so weird,
right? Like, man, like it's super fascinating to hear them just process the tearing down, the rebuild, how intricate that it all gets for them. But then like, like I would probably consider the hard part is the story building, but that's the easy part. But I found it funny that I literally sat in my car like listening to this thing, and I got home and I'm like, shit, I don't want to get out of my car because I want to
That's
finish
funny.
this
That's funny.
story.
That's cool.
But I think we got a little bit of news to go through.
All right, go for it.
Do it. We had was this PulseCon? This was announced
last week.
Yeah, we had a PulseCon.
Sorry, we did have a PulseCon after our show, didn't we? yes. It's been a long week. I kind of forgot. Friday was PulseCon. Hasbro's like multimedia. Well, it's really just an online event. It used to be, there was 1 year where it was an actual physical convention right before COVID, and then ever since then, it's just been like a streaming event that they show off
like
every single brand.
Their press conference, their annual press conference.
Yeah, but they try and make it more fun than that. So like they actually have events going on and stuff like that. But this was the cheapest one they've done in years. Previous ones have been 2-day events with like, guest musicians and stuff like that. Like this one was a lot weaker, but yeah, it was all the brands that have something to present. I wouldn't even say it's all the brands. There was nothing shown for Power Rangers or Indiana Jones this year. It's not to say that they don't necessarily have things in the pipeline. They just didn't feel like sharing those things. I also think it's interesting how they organize the event, because basically they try and prioritize the stronger brands or something, and save them for the end. So what you have on screen right now is the second to last presentation, which was the Marvel Legends brand, showing off Marvel Legends Secret Wars. They actually did a 2-pack last year, or maybe was it earlier this year? I can't remember. I think
it was with the Doom and the Photon, right? It
was Spectrum and Photon and Dr. Doom, but Dr. Doom was specifically in a costume that he wore in the Secret Wars toy line back from the 1980s. And so they said that was their kind of taste test or testing the waters thing, and people loved it so much that they're producing an entire wave of Secret Wars inspired figures with on card backs, and they come with the fun accessories that those toys came with back in the day, with the special dumb shields with the lenticular that reveals the secret identity of the character, plus some other cool accessories. But the weird thing about this line is, honestly, the real draw to this line is it's the retroness of it, right? Like that you're getting them for the silly guns that they come with, because the toy line came with the characters came with guns back then. You get the weird shields that they come with. You get the weird accessories, but like, let's be real. 4 of the 6 figures in this wave are just repaints of toys that we've already seen from Hasbro.
Well, who's new? The Beyonder and Titania are new, right?
The Beyonder and Titania are not just new. This is their first time ever as Marvel Legends. Okay. Yeah, like
they're both first appearance in Secret Wars.
They are both first appearances in Secret Wars. The Beyonder might have appeared before that, as a tease.
He gives Titania her powers, right? Like,
no, actually, Dr. Doom created Titania and Volcana, I believe. There's one other.
You told the story before.
Yeah. So, but we've told the story about how the Secret Wars comic book line was basically a collaboration between Marvel and, I believe, Kenner was the license holder at the time. I could be wrong. I can't remember who
it was. Basically, the mega story arc to bring in all the toys.
Yeah, it was actually the first the first giant crossover story Marvel had ever done. But the entire reason behind it was to sell Marvel toys. So they got all of the characters. This character named the Beyonder is like this all-powerful being that shows up, and he just yanks all his favorite characters out of the Marvel universe and plants them on a battle world and says, "Okay, guys, you're gonna fight each other for my amusement," And so, you get a lot of classic characters all mixed together. You get the Fantastic Four, you get X-Men, you get Spider-Man. and you
You get the
get
black suit of Spider-Man for the first time.
it is another gimmick they use to incentivize people reading this book and buying the toys. And then in the middle of the story, Doctor Doom just goes and creates a couple new characters, and you're like, okay, cool. And they actually never had Secret Wars toys of those characters that I recall, but I could be wrong. I don't remember a Titania toy from back then.
That would track. There's only a few female superheroes getting toys back then.
Yeah. So, but in any case, I think it's a really cool thing that they did this. I am a little bummed that Spider-Man does not have the toe articulation.
I was just about to say that. The toe, it's literally the same one I have on my desk, except for the hands. And I guess the head sculpt's slightly different.
Yeah, he's got two heads, but he does have that cool shield. And then Iron Man comes with roller skates, so that's cool, I guess. Captain America comes with a broken shield for the first time ever in the line.
That shield looks cool.
It does look cool. He also comes with an angry face, which is the first time he's been given that as well.
The Wolverine smirk face.
His Wolverine's got a smirk, and
people are kind of pissed that this is like the 6th Wolverine in a row that he hasn't shown his teeth.
Oh, that's pretty funny. Well, then if they show the teeth, they have to paint the teeth. Yeah.
Keep that money.
But yeah, no, it's I think they teased this Wolverine at Comic-Con on the last day of the event. He was hiding in the glass case with all the other X-Men. But yeah, it's a cool set. I think there was other stuff shown off as well at PulseCon. Actually, some stuff that was made available to order right away. The Kang with the time chair went up for order, and then there was also one last set of figures for the VHS Spider-Man animated.
Oh, it was the Vulture and another Spider-Man.
Spider-Man and the young Vulture, from the cartoon. Pretty cool. Randomly, also they brought back more supply of those mini Sentinels too.
Really?
Yeah, they restocked on those. So
are those? So again, those are video game based Sentinels, right?
Yeah, they're a video game.
Okay, but like they're not normally that size, are they?
They have had Sentinels be like that, yeah.
I for the life of me just can't track. You explained to me once, and like the Sentinels go crazy, like from just a guy who hates mutants to like sentient beings, and
I mean, yeah, the Sentinels are whatever AI story they feel like ripping off of at the time, but they have absolutely done Terminator stories in the X-Men involving Sentinels. That's effectively what Nimrod is a time traveling Sentinel from the future. He came back to kill specific people in the past. Like, yes, they do it all. Any AI related story that you've ever seen as a horror story, Sentinels, that's what they're for. They do it. Yes. But was there any other news that you had? Because I mean, I geeked out over those, but
nothing. Light movie news.
Oh, no movie news at all?
I got no movie news. Agatha's out.
Okay. All right. Well, do you want to just talk about those things then?
Let's just do it. So we'll start with Agatha and then work our way to the Penguin. Where prior to this show, Dennis, you were
I'm ready.
Poo-pooing on Agatha. I'll even say you were shitting on Agatha. You were not happy about this show, about its existence. We even had behind closed doors discussions of not talking about this show.
I was
on this show
not excited about Agatha, particularly because, look, I read a lot of Marvel comics. I've read a lot in my life. I have never read an Agatha comic, and there is a reason. She does not have her own comics.
Agatha one this year.
It doesn't really count. It doesn't really count, Ricky. If it's to promote a show, it doesn't count.
Well,
So that's kind of my
yeah.
reason. My problem with it, right, is like, look, I'm all about like, working with what you got, right? Is
Mhm.
like that worked really well for Marvel in the beginning of the MCU. They're like, hey, we don't have access to Spider-Man, we don't have the X-Men, we don't have Fantastic Four, we don't have the Hulk. Let's do Iron Man. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
they did do the Hulk, but
Yeah.
in a partnership, you know what I mean? Let's go with Iron Man, and it worked like gangbusters. And then they're doubled down on it, right? They're like, okay, I think we could try to do the Hulk, or I mean, I think we can do Thor, and I think we can do Captain America, and I think, dear God, we might even be able to pull off an Ant-Man movie. You know what I mean? And they did it, and they've done it numerous times over, and I'm very happy for them. But here's the thing, though: Ant-Man, Guardians, Hulk, Thor, Captain America, they're all characters that have had a long history in comic books, right?
Mhm.
Even if you've never heard of them, it's still a really they're still like
They're pillars. They run their own books.
they run their own books. They are pillar characters, right? And so I feel like there's so many pillars that still don't have their own show or movie. Like I was like, I mean, it was only like 2 years ago that I was like, oh my God, Moon Knight finally has his own show, and this is so crazy and cool. And then She-Hulk finally got her own show, and I was like, oh my God, this can't, like, I still love that show. I still do. And I was just really excited to start seeing this kind of thing happening, where it's the ones that we've been waiting on for a long time. Finally, we got teased Hercules how many years ago now?
Like two. Yeah.
And when is that going to happen? It's going to take so long before that
Well, I
poor man.
mean, you want to go hindsight. Like, when did WandaVision is 4 years ago now?
No, we have not been doing this show for 4 years.
3.5 years ago now?
Has it been 3?
Oh yeah, it's definitely since 2021. When we're at the end of 2024. Yeah, it's definitely been 3.
Are you sure?
We are now seeing the sequel of that show.
Yeah, no, I know for sure. WandaVision was 2021. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But did that show? But is this the sequel that show needed? That's my question. So yeah. Am I what I just want to clarify what I said before this show. As I said, I am in no way excited for this show. I don't care. Like, but I let it. I'll let it have the chance
Mhm.
to prove me wrong. I don't think it's proved me wrong yet. I still don't care. But I did see nudity, and so now I'm like, oh man, are we gonna get, like, I was joking last week when you were like, what is the thing that could make you excited? And I was like, I don't know, Aubrey Plaza naked. There is now a non-0% chance that she might end up actually naked on this show.
There was a lot more butt on this show than I think anyone anticipated.
I think it was the first full-on bare female butt in the MCU.
Definitely bare female butt.
I know Gemma Chan does have a nude scene in the Eternals, but it's it's all covered up with
But
what was that?
you see the Hulk's butt.
Oh no, there's multiple guy butts in the MCU. There's like 5 guy butts so far.
Yeah.
Hulk, Thor, Dr. Exposition, aka Selvig.
Yeah.
Eric Selvig runs
Star-Lord?
around. We don't need to list all of them.
I
I don't think it's. I looked through a list yesterday, and but I will say that
is the story
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it for 2 reasons. One, it's Halloween time. And so, like, it's we're getting there. We're getting to Halloween time. And sure, if you want to do some fun, wacky story about a bunch of witches, cool.
Mhm.
2, I do think Catherine Hahn is a great actress. I really do. And I do think she's going a little over the top with every single type of, or version of her character that she's doing right now. But it's on brand, right? It's on brand with Agatha.
Yeah.
So those things it has going for it. That said, I'm having a real hard time trying to remind myself that everything going on in this story takes place in the same universe that was saved by Iron Man. You know what I mean? And the Avengers, like, it doesn't feel like even remotely in that same world right now.
Well,
And
feels WandaVision-y.
yeah,
I to that point though, I do appreciate them like taking the swing out the gate, and I guess spoiler, we haven't given a tag, but they're specifically like talking about what the hell happened to Wanda. That's been like
well,
this
they're
big
not
talking point.
really, they're not specifically, they're just saying she dead. That's what they're saying.
Yes, but they're taking that question head on for sure.
Sure, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
And what that would do to an Agatha Harkness who was under her spell. And I think they could have gone a different way that probably wouldn't have been less enticing had they not tried to avoid the Wanda size elephant in the room. But I do like how they're kind of like putting a pin on it and like, yeah, this is directly tied to Wanda in one way or another.
Yeah, it wasn't in my favorite ways. Like, I don't appreciate that the lesson learned for Wanda at the end of WandaVision is to take a character in Westview and once again put her in this fictional mental prison for 3 years. You know what I mean? Like,
But
that's
I do like how people in Westview like, yeah, we don't talk about the crazy witch lady that tortured us.
But like, so she only did it to Agatha, and so Agatha's been going around thinking she's like on some like ABC drama like police show, right? But everybody else is just like kind of treating her as like the crazy one because they actually are normal and fine now in that universe.
Yeah.
It was a little weird for me, but yeah, I feel like it's a half step back. Is like, I know that Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness kind of ruined Wanda's character permanently, like for at least for the next, until they go back and retcon it later or whatever, but they didn't really give her a chance to be a very redeemable character by the end of that story arc, which was a bummer for a lot of fans of of Scarlet Witch. But it was also a bummer to think that, like, because where things ended in WandaVision were hopeful, right? They were like, oh, maybe there's a chance she can find a way to get redemption and stuff. And so it just kind of doubles down on the ickiness of it to know that, oh, so this is what she did with Agatha too. Now, don't get me wrong, Agatha's a bitch. She totally is the reason, she's behind it all, right?
Even like, the witches hate Agatha.
She was the evil, Machiavellian person behind that orchestrated and manipulated Wanda into doing a lot of bad things, right? All in service of stealing her power. Like, okay, she's a bad person. Again, not on brand with Agatha in the comics. Like, Agatha is the nanny of Franklin Richards for the Fantastic Four. She generally is like kind of the good person that's helping these other magical beings.
Whose story does she is she technically like a Fantastic Four character?
Yeah. Okay. She first appeared. Jack Kirby and Stan Lee created her for Fantastic Four, and she's but she's just kind of eventually ended up bleeding into lots of characters. The best I could explain is she's kind of like the Madam Web of the mystical
the
people,
magic
of the magic people. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of her thing. And so she helps, usually she helps these, more awesome, more sexy, like super powered magic people defeat Mephisto or other, evil demons and stuff like that. So, or train Franklin Richards how to use his reality altering powers and stuff. So she's a mentor to a lot of people. And so I think the point of this show is supposed to be an arc that gets her more in that heroic,
I mean,
framework.
They're kind of setting up her Franklin Richards in this universe to be Billy, the teen.
The teen, yeah. Like I was telling my wife that it could be Franklin, it could be Billy, or it could be one of Mephisto's kids. I'm not quite sure who it is, but like I don't know that I actually really care yet.
No,
so that's kind of my thing. I was having fun with the episodes, but like when I thought about it when it was over, I was like, am I like chomping at the bit to find out what happens next week? No, I'm not. I will watch it, and I do like Arpy Plaza. Like that's.
I mean, speaking of Mephisto's kids, do you think she's Blackheart? They kind of say it. Was that too on the nose?
They say Blackheart in the show, and that's why I was like, that's weird. I mean, I don't know. Her character is created.
Ghost Rider Nick Cage's Blackheart.
Yeah, they created her for the show.
Rio
Vidal has not existed in the comics to my knowledge. I do think it's interesting that she keeps like leaving every time and saying te veo. She keeps telling Agatha I see you in Spanish. I don't know what that's about. I'm sure it'll all make sense in the end. But yeah, there's something missing for me right now. But I will say this. My wife enjoyed it. My wife likes witchy things.
Episode 1 and 2 were great appetizers.
And she was happy with it. And so like I always appreciate any time that we can watch a Marvel experience that she comes out of it saying, I liked it, so that's a plus for me for now. Is it ranking high on my favorite shows that Marvel's produced? No, still not even close. But I'll keep watching. I'm not mad at it right now. Okay, that's more than.
I'll take that as a win. I'm having fun with it. I'm definitely intrigued. That song, the Witch's Road, a little catchy, but that's what you get.
It's a bit of an earworm.
That's what they do.
It's a bit of
the Lopez's from Frozen fame, or I guess WandaVision did all the songs for WandaVision too. But
oh yeah, you're right. They did do the songs for WandaVision, huh? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, no, the song's a banger. It's pretty good. It's pretty catchy. I think it's cool that Patti LuPone's in there. Zashir Zameda from Saturday Night Live. That's cool. Like, it's an interesting coven, but I don't care about them yet, right? Like we kind of threw it together really fast. Yeah, actually, I kind of like the first episode more than the second episode. Like,
I agree.
Yeah, the second episode it felt a little rushed, and it felt like, okay, here we go. We're doing the MCU season format again, where everything's going to be just a little bit too drip feedy for me, and then they'll all rush to finish out the story in the last 2 episodes. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of filler for the next few weeks, and that doesn't excite me. Do you get that? Do you understand what?
Yeah, it's a 10 episode season, 8 episode.
Oh my god, are you serious?
There's 2 episodes. The finale and the penultimate episode come out on the same day.
Okay, but that's for the Halloween week, right?
Yeah, I think it is for Halloween week.
Okay,
I'm excited. There's a lot of, in the grand scheme of things, the magic side of the MCU is not really fleshed out. If anything, aside from Doctor Strange and WandaVision. But I'm excited to have a new witch show, a new Agatha show. I'm excited that we've got to learn what yoni eggs are for. And yeah, let's hope for the best.
Yeah. Hope for the best is where I think that's where I'm at right now. Is like, here's my thing. Like, you were having fun a minute ago, like speculating. is it Mephisto? Is it Blackheart? Blah blah blah. But like,
Are you going to be pissed if it's not Mephisto at this point?
But here's my thing. Like, I'm so jaded from the people who created WandaVision because they made so many nerds like me like speculate day in and day out about all these fun things that we could be
didn't know. It
introduced
was
to.
the first one out the gate.
We didn't know, but we knew that there was a world of interesting things that could happen in a Scarlet Witch and Vision led story. And there's all these fun characters that could be brought in, right? Remember, we were excited about possibly the Grim Reaper showing up. We were excited about Wonder Man. We were excited about Mephisto. We were excited about the House of M. There was so many things.
One of those things. A Wonder Man is happening.
Yeah, but I mean, not in this show, like not in Agatha or not in
that show is filmed and done already. So it might happen.
But what I'm saying is, like, where we started on WandaVision and where we ended were two very different 100%. Things, and not in the happiest of ways for me. I know a lot of people still consider WandaVision their favorite of the MCU shows. In my opinion, those people are wrong. No, it just didn't do it for me. Like, it didn't do it for me because I felt like I was getting dicked around for 8 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, and being teased all these things that I could get. So this time around, I'm really hesitant to speculate on what we could get because that hurt me. That kind of bit me in the butt last time. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just like, yeah, that's kind of why I went into this saying like, I'm not excited. I'm not excited because I knew it was the same people who were responsible for WandaVision. Did they tell a cool story about Wanda and Vision and their love and you know, like how it transcended death and all these things? Yes, they did tell a good story about that. I just wish they didn't like F with us so much with all the other stuff, the TV stuff and all that. Like, yeah, I'm still bitter, man. I'm still bitter. So, like, I don't want sequels.
Shame on you. Right now. Fool me twice. You can't fool me again.
Yeah. Or I'd rather
whatever the George Bush quote is.
Yeah, exactly. Like, will I be excited if those things happen? Yes. Will I be pissed if they don't? No, because I'm not letting myself.
You can be agnostic. I mean, it's still early. I'll give you till next week to make a decision.
Wow, that's it.
But
if I haven't made that
based on our other conversation we had, I'm kind of glad that we waited to do the show today because we got to squeeze in the Penguin.
I'm super glad. I honestly didn't think I would finish the Penguin before this recording this. My wife did not get to finish it because I had to watch the last 20 minutes without her. That show is awesome. And I am super excited to watch that every week. I will say this, though, for anybody who's excited to hear our point of view, they only did the Thursday premiere for this week's episode. Moving forward, every new episode will be on Sunday, starting the 29th of September.
Okay, so then they're going the full HBO treatment with this.
Yeah. So we're not gonna be talking about the Penguin next week because there won't be a Penguin episode next week until after we've recorded the show. So I'm kind of bummed to know that. Like, I'm bummed to like we gotta wait like a full 10, 11 days to watch that show again. But where that episode started and where it ended, it was practically a movie. It was practically its own movie that was done in about an hour and 15 minutes.
Very beautiful show.
It's very beautiful. And honestly, I gotta say this, and I know I'm gonna piss off a lot of people out there. I loved it so much more than the Batman. I loved it so much more than the Batman.
Okay, we got to break down this. By the Batman, you're referring to the Robert Pattinson Batman movie that this show takes place in.
This show takes place directly after the events of the Batman.
A few days after.
A few days after.
When you say you liked it better than the Batman, are you referring to the movie as a whole or more in line towards that specific take on Batman?
the movie as a whole.
Okay.
I prefer this show because I think the movie as a whole was a little too ambitious. Like here's the thing. Like I
I
remember.
rewatched it over the past week, in anticipation for the show.
Yeah.
And I do kind of like it a lot.
That's fine. That's fine that you like it a lot. I'm not saying I hate that movie. What I'm saying is I think this one episode of Penguin and the potential it puts out there at the end was so much more contained, restrained, and concise in its storytelling that like I got to sit back and just enjoy the magic of acting and the magic of character.
This is Colin Farrell's like next Emmy.
Hell yeah, it is. Like here's my thing. I remember everybody.
There are layers to that performance.
I remember everybody saying like, "Oh my god, Colin Farrell in the Batman is so amazing. It's the craziest thing. Like you can't even recognize him." And I went and saw that movie, and honestly, dude, he's not in a lot of that movie, and it's kind of frustrating because it's like I got hyped to see the Penguin be this awesome thing. I don't even remember him waddling in that movie. Is the waddle a direct result of getting his ass kicked by Batman? Or
he definitely has the foot thing.
Like I don't remember it in that movie. Like I don't. But like
Batman does fuck him up though.
Yeah, he does. But what I'm saying is like there's so many little elements to his character that just didn't get to be fleshed out in that movie. Mm-hmm. And this show is just let's follow this guy to go buy slushies. You know,
like in the life of the Penguin.
Like it's a full like several days in the life of Penguin, and you get to see everything that we didn't get in the movie. You know what I mean? Like
it makes it wild that we haven't. So Batman on TV is like a staple at this point, going all the way back from Adam West. There's always, or it seems that as of late, there's always a Batman something on the air,
right?
But never
Warner Brothers most profitable franchise. Period. That's why.
But there's never been, get like a better phrase, an HBO Batman show, like right.
No, but the closest thing we got recently was the Batman Cape Crusader on Prime. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, okay, like a live action Batman crime show. It seems like you write that on the whiteboard, the idea board, and it's like, yeah, we should throw money at that. And it's to me, it's like wild that it's taken this long to finally get that.
Yeah, on HBO for sure. Like, there's been Gotham. You know, a lot of people like Gotham. A lot of people like that show. I hated it. This show is everything I wished Gotham was.
The universe that's established here is it's not Gotham gets a little wacky, and that's a fun Batman show, but it is a slightly different flavor of a Batman show.
Yeah.
Versus this, it's like it's 100% just a character study of the Penguin for at least the first episode, and seeing what this man is. He's not a mustache twirling guy. He's like a drug lord, but shows like his responsibilities.
He's an ambitious man that wants to take over, you know, the crime in Gotham, but it comes from like kind of a noble place, right? Like it comes from like, it reminds me of like his when he's telling the story to Alberto Falcone, he's reminiscing about this amazing large character in his youth that was like, yeah, he did run the crime in the neighborhood, but he also looked out for everybody in that community, right? And it reminded me of Wilson Fisk, or of what Wilson Fisk's dad wanted to be, kind of in the Kingpin stories. You know, like it's that, right? It's he wants to be idolized by the people around him for the good he does, even though he obtains it by doing all this horrible thing. I got that, and I thought it was really funny that Alberto like just spat in his face and said like, "What a pussy," you know, like that's like, It's so dumb to think that. And then you see that he has a short fuse, and like he couldn't even handle being berated by this one younger person, and everything goes off the rails instantly because he just guns that man down, and then he immediately realizes, shit, like I just did something bad,
But he's
like
also in that moment. You see, like he's already 3 steps ahead. All right, get the body out, put it in the car. Like the plan's already there.
I
You just
wouldn't
to
say he's
watch him.
3 steps ahead, but because that shit goes off the rails pretty
Yeah,
fast. Yeah.
but you know what I mean. He's in control. He gives off the perception of that he's in control, and that extends to that.
He's confident. Yeah, he's
Mhm.
got confidence, and he's willing to see how far that confidence will take him.
And he's
And
pressed on it too when he's at that lunch with blanking on, is it Stephanie Falcone?
Sophia.
Sophia Falcone.
Yeah.
And she presses him on like that whole situation where he lies and boasts about knowing the plan, that he shouldn't have known about the plan, and the brother may be dead or not. And he like doubles down on it. And
Yeah.
you come out of a certain point of this show like you're rooting for the Penguin.
You kind of are. You kind of are.
Wild.
And I gotta say, I know where you stopped watching the show, and excuse me, things only get worse for the Penguin. That
It's
man,
like there's a tinge of like uncut gems in this show that I really like.
Like where it gets for the Penguin by the end of that episode is bad. It's real bad, and like it's humiliating, and you don't see a way out. But the way out, it presents itself through this teenage youth that he chose in a moment of compassion to save, when he knew in every scenario the smart decision is to kill this kid who he roped in to help him get rid of the body, right? Or he was going to get rid of the body. Every logical thing was telling him, I gotta kill you. He even explained to this kid, like, look, how do I not kill you? Right?
About it in that moment, but you see a part of him like already override that decision and say like, I have to kill you, dude. Like it's just not a
But see, here's the thing. Everything we just said right now, I didn't get any of that in Agatha. I didn't get any of that. I didn't get attached to these characters that I didn't know going in, right? Like, I like Vic Aguilar. I want to know, who is Vic Aguilar? Like, tell me who this character is now. I want to see Christine Milioti's take on Sophia Falcone.
Is she like a name villain in the Batman?
She is a character in one of my favorite stories ever, The Long Halloween. She is. They kind of alluded to it, and it made me kind of have a little like nerd tingle.
They call it the Hangman, right?
Yeah, they call it the Hangman, and I remember it. I'm like, oh shit, that's right. She is the murderer in The Long Halloween. That's the big reveal at the end of the story. Like, they're trying to figure out who all these holiday killings are being committed by, and it turns out to be Sophia, and so she goes to jail for that at the end of Long Halloween. So I kind of like the little nod once again, because a lot of what was established in the Batman, the stuff that I did like about it, was they were heavily referencing my favorite book that's ever been written for Batman. And so it was fun again starting this episode to be like, oh, we're still leaning in on this. Okay, so we're just gonna do the Falcones and the Maronis, and that's it. Like, there's not gonna be no other supervillains in this story, and I'm actually okay with that, because the gang war is the setting for year one of Batman, right? Like, that's like Batman's life was really hard even before the Joker showed up and all these other characters, right? Like, and it's beautifully told in Frank Miller's Batman Year One, and which The Long Halloween is a continuation of. But The Long Halloween has that fun thing where it's like, let's also throw in like a billion Batman villains too, you know? So, but yeah, Sophia is at the heart of that story. She is a giant, massive woman in that comic, though. So it was kind of interesting to see Christine Milioti being this small, dainty woman that still carries the ferocity of Sophia, but like you're just
Mhm.
like, okay, how do you go around murdering people, you know? And so, but you get to see a little hint of it towards the end of the show of like just how bad she gets, and so that excited me more. It made me excited to, okay, I'm like, I want more of this. I want this character. I want Clancy Brown as Sal Maroni. I want to see more of this. Like they made these characters come to life, and I was really just so overjoyed to see, like, to know that we're just going to get this deep dive where we actually get to learn about Batman's enemies before Batman shows up next year
Before
and
Batman
kicks their
beats the
ass
shit out of
again.
everyone.
Yeah, because like let's be honest, like that's kind of the problem with every Batman movie, right? Is like we keep learning a little bit more about Batman, but not a lot, right? Because it's
Mhm.
always kind of the same. It's like, we get it. Daddy or mommy and daddy are dead. You're sad. You put on a cape. You beat up bad guys. But like the villains that show up in Batman movies are kind of like the flavor of the week or the flavor of the month. Like we get a taste of them. And they get a full arc, and then they're usually dead by the end of the movie, or they're in prison, or whatever. You know, like
Well, it flips on its head because, like, the whole point of Batman, it's really just like a visual, I don't say descent to madness, but you're watching a man who got pushed to the limit, and we're seeing the results of that first. So for Bruce Wayne, that's a Batman, but we don't get to see that moment happens to every other super villain that he fights, because
yeah.
who else would dress up like a fucking penguin and do
Well,
crime?
this guy's not.
But
It's not really his choice in this story. Yeah,
but you know what I mean. There's every villain of that caliber has that arc and story. They're all, what's the phrase? They're all the heroes of their own stories,
yes,
and
yes,
and you
for
get to
sure.
see what really motivates Oz and what his purpose is, like, or what he feels like his purpose is, and it's kind of it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
Also, wholly due in part to Colin Farrell, because again, the performance is so great and nuance with the body language and the waddling, and
I could see his eyes, and that's all I could see.
like
I can see his
he's
eyes.
in
That's it.
you like, man, this guy's in pain, like,
Yeah,
but he's pushing through,
he pushes
and
through the pain because he's got goals. He's got goals in mind.
he's got ambition.
Yeah. So you didn't finish the scene with the mom, right?
No.
that scene was where the entire so we talked about Batman Cape Crusader before, right? And
Yeah.
how like the first episode I was kind of like, yawn, seen this before. Ooh, this penguin's interesting. What's her deal? It's a female penguin. Okay. All right, that's gotta have been hard to grow up as a woman looking like that. I see that. I get it. Oh, she's got kids. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, she just lets one of them die. She kills one, right? She kills one of those kids,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, "Oops, I guess I chose the wrong one," because she finds out the other kid was. And I'm like, "What the hell is this character? This character is hardcore." You will feel that same way by the end of his scene with his mother, because I didn't see his relationship with her. The power dynamic changes from where that scene starts to where it ends. And where it ends is like, I didn't see that coming, but now I'm like, well, yeah, that tracks. Okay, that tracks. I get it. And so I just had such a fun time getting insight into all of these characters to see what makes them tick, and understanding who they are as people, like as they felt like real people, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the most fun thing about exploring the world of Gotham, is because there are so many real people there that somehow have to exist simultaneously with Batman and the Joker and Poison Ivy and Clayface and all, and so they're kind of the stars of this world. Like that's why like they keep trying to do more stories about them. Like there's like like there's entire comic books just about Detective Montoya and Harvey Bullock and stuff like that, because there's all these interesting people that don't have superpowers that live there.
They have to
And
live
so
in this
that have
crazy
to
ass
live in this
world.
crazy city. Yeah. And it's just so fun to see them three-dimensionally fleshed out on screen and done so beautifully by Colin Farrell that I was just like, well, I'm sold. Like I didn't feel this way when I watched the movie, but when I watched him for this hour and 15 minutes today, I was mesmerized. I was like, he is so hypnotic to watch that I just I would let him do this all day. If it's just him not getting his ass kicked by Batman, I'm totally okay with that. And so
It's gonna
yeah,
hurt even more when he finally does get his ass kicked by Batman, though.
I actually might root for Penguin the next time they meet up. You know what I mean? So that's a cool thing. I think that's a really cool byproduct of this show, is that we can actually start rooting for them, you know, like, because yeah, I, but I think it's also cool that it exists in the world established by the Riddler and Batman's confrontation, right? Like, it's
Mhm.
because I was afraid that the next movie was going to fast forward past these events, you know, like flooding Gotham City, like only the poor parts of Gotham City, is just devastating for the economic structure of that city, and it's just going to make everything so much worse. It's going to be no man's land. And so
Mhm.
I was really like excited. That's what I like the most about the movie, is the ending, because I was like, wow, what is the next movie? But now I don't even have to wait. Now I'm just like, oh, we're there now. We just get to see how shitty it is to live in that city right now, unless you're in the burbs. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in the burbs, that's cool too. Like, I guess you're removed from it, just like, you know, it's just like real life too. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah. Um, I could gush over this show all day. I loved it so much. I want you to go and watch the last 15
Oh,
minutes.
I'll finish it by tonight.
I'm
That's a
so proud
guarantee.
of myself for not ruining it for you. Like, I wanted to so badly, but I'm not gonna. I think it's gonna be
Well,
cool. But
I'm happy
I
that
do
you did.
have our audience member that was nice enough to join us for this one. She had a question, and I think I want to share it with you for both shows, just because I want to know, for Agatha first and then the Penguin, under what circumstances will Ricky be pissed?
Oh, for Agatha, um, I will be pissed. I want them to loop this back in to something mainline in the MCU. So whether that is like a full Wanda return or a tease, um, getting the Darkhold back, 'cause I feel like that's a big deal in Marvel canon. But I don't want this to be like an isolated Agatha story where she comes out with her powers back and we're all happy. Um, I definitely want a big shift that happens in this show that'll carry over to the rest of the stuff.
Okay.
I'd even be happy with Agatha being like a villain again. Like,
I feel like you're setting yourself up for some piss.
but for Penguin, man, I don't think he dies because like I don't think you kill him after.
Oh
Like
my god.
you need him for the
I'll
next
be,
two Batman
I'll be
movies.
furious if he dies. Yeah, this character, no killing.
I want to say I'll be pissed if I don't see a Batman,
Oh, really? It's
but
already been confirmed that he
yeah,
won't be in the
he's not
show.
in. But I will say I'll be pissed. Give me give me another villain, not as the main plot point. Give me a pillar of Batman's rogues gallery. We can acknowledge that they exist. We see them for an episode. I'll take a headline in a newspaper, but give me one of the big ones. Give me a Mister Freeze.
You want Mr.
Give
Freeze
me a Clay.
already?
I don't think. Again, I'm willing to accept that it's not going to be fantastical. I'll take a guy that's good at disguises as a Clayface, but I do want them to have some type of Riddler, right? Riddler tier villain pop up, exist, whatever in this show.
Interesting.
Is that out of line? You get what I'm asking?
I get what you're asking, and I'm sure a lot of people are asking that question or that favor too.
Like, who does this show so far has proven to me that a penguin fighting the mob, the crime family, is a cool ass show. But you gotta give me some more.
See, I don't need more than that.
You gotta give me something in the ether. Fuck
Yeah.
it. Show Joker is still in Arkham. Cool. I'm happy with that. Just give me someone.
Yeah, I don't need that. I don't I think I'd rather the weird happen in Batman movies, and then we go back to grounded reality in non-Batman movies. You know what I mean? Like we're like, you have to be reminded, like, hey, look, there's normal people living here, and they're trying to make ends meet, and they gotta make hard decisions to do that sometimes. And then on top of that, there's a crazy asshole dressed as a bat that's making their lives that much harder. So I don't know that I need this to be Gotham, 2.0, that show. Like, because that's what that show was every week. It's like, hey, look, here's that one.
Yeah, here's this one. I don't think you do that, but I do think you can set up one. Court of Owls.
Yeah, we're setting up the Penguin.
Show me an owl mask in the Penguin's closet.
I will allow the Court of Owls. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's not a
direct Talon, right? Talon's the
Talon. No, Talon's like a.
Who's like their hitman or whatever.
Yeah, the Talons.
The Talons. Okay. Yeah. Show me some. Give me something.
Like Talon. Sure. Yeah.
Hush. I'll take a Hush. They kind of already teased Hush, though.
Yeah, I thought they did tease Hush in the last movie.
Okay, show me the guy coming back. Something.
Fine. But all right. I accept these are yours. These are for you to have. Like, so
these are mine, my own.
They're yours.
Ganex Media does not condone or support the views of its members.
Yeah. The only trivia I found on this one, which I thought was kind of cute, by the way, was there's a jewelry store that said shown several times to be called Burgess. That's a nod to Burgess Meredith, who played the Penguin in the 1966
that's cute.
Batman series. He's one of my favorite Penguins, and I really loved seeing Colin Farrell's waddle because it reminded me so much of the original 66.
I'll be pissed he's not a top hat. At least once. We got a purple suit, damn it. That's pretty good. Put him in the top hat.
I love it. Not the monocle. You want the top hat.
I'll take the monocle too. I'll take one or the other.
I kind of want the monocle more than the top hat. I kind of do. But here's the thing. Like, you got to remember this about Penguin. This is kind of still his origin story, because Penguin eventually does get to that point where he is respected.
Usually when people meet the Penguin in a Batman story, he has already ascended that.
He has become somehow so he has fooled the world into believing that he is he's gone legit.
Mm-hmm.
And he lives a life of, I wouldn't say luxury, but he's taken care of very well, so like and that's when he can start wearing top hats and monocles and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know that I need that to happen in this show, because I would more rather see him get there in the next movie or something like that. But this is filling in those blanks. But yeah, it's a ride. I'm here for the ride. I don't have a specific endpoint that I need from it. Whereas like, I feel like Agatha is pushing so hard for the endpoint that I'm gonna be either satisfied or deeply unsatisfied when we get there. So we'll see. All right, that's all I got for that.
That's all I got. Thank you, true believers. Stay tuned next week when we talk about Agatha episode 3
and only Agatha.
And only Agatha. But with that, enough said.